Hello, and welcome to this demo of this LoRA by block analysis and loading. So these nodes here, the key things in this pack are a LoRA loader and analyzer, and a selective LoRA loader. Say that 3 times fast. This is the Z image implementation. Wan is also supported. Qwen and Qwen Edit are supported. Flux is supported and SDXL is supported. All the nodes are within the node pack along with the trainers in the same pack. Now, I have 2 LoRAs loaded, which are credited in this workflow, which will be bundled in the pack. One is a 20s horror movie LoRA, and another is a character called Glara H. Now, I'm going to start by showing you, I'm going to actually disable the 20s horror node here. As you'll see, actually, the 20s horror node here is actually selected in the analyzer and is being passed to the loader. You don't have to do that. But if I just disable the 20s horror now, the only LoRA that's been loaded is this Glara H. So I'm just going to hit Q prompt. And it was already, because it was a fixed seed, it's already ready to go. So you can see the look of the character here. Now, if I turn on in the selective loader, and I'll put it back to say default settings, so it's all at 1.0, it's a normal loader. Now, you'll see here, it has analyzed the 20s horror LoRA, and it tells us here where in this graph, what blocks of the LoRA have the most data in. That can be very, very handy, because it can give you a really strong hint about what LoRAs contain, what blocks contain what. Now, the reason I've connected this analysis effectively to the LoRA loader is it allows it to color code your blocks. So you can see here the main ones here. Now, anyway, if I hit here, and it's basically redoing the image with the 20s horror, and you'll see her face will be destroyed. So very much 20s horror, but obliterated face. Now, what I have noticed in my playing with Z image is that the facial stuff tends to be in the last 10 to 12 layers. So I'm gonna bring these, not exactly, I'm not being exact here, down to about half. You can single click these to turn them off, or you can just drag. This is the first release of this today. I've been working on it since like 6 this morning, and it's just after midnight here, so it's at a point where it's definitely usable. Right, that should be enough. And I would note in the SDXL and Flux, I have presets in there for face and composition and all that. But I haven't learned enough about Z image yet. And actually, feedback on the GitHub with people's discoveries about Z image layers, that would be awesome. Anyway, Q prompt. So I'm hoping to see some horror vibe. Won't be as much as this probably, because I've really done it quite messily here. I've still got the horror vibe, but I've got her face back. And these 2 LoRAs are now playing in tandem. So that is, there's another, I want to keep this video simple, but I just want to speak out loud some other concepts you could do here. You could, for instance, load in a LoRA, which is fantastic style, and turn down the face elements of it quite easily. You know, even from this little experiment here, that the faces live in these last layers. So in a LoRA that you've loaded in, there's a very strong style. Lowering these ones has a very good chance of allowing a face LoRA from another character to come in as intended. You could load a LoRA at a low strength, say 0.3 for argument's sake, because all these numbers are relative to the strength of the LoRA. So this LoRA is coming in at 1.0. If you loaded it at, say, 0.5 and then just did a boost to 1 for argument's sake, 1.5 or 2, on these face layers or style layers, that allows you to boost one while leaving the other very low. So it's an alternative way to make 2 LoRAs plugged together nicely. You can just run this analyzer separately on its own. You could literally connect a model to it and clip and not have a model output. Like I don't even have this model output connected here. If I zoom in, you'll see it's not even connected. The only thing I have connected is the analysis JSON going to the analysis, the path to path. If I disconnect the path here, by the way, if I just disconnect that, it will now use the path that's at the top of the loader. So both of these can be used on their own, but they're kind of handy when they're used together. So I think this has hopefully a lot of potential for usability. The color coding was an absolute nightmare to get working. But for me, it's something that makes it easier. I mean, I think I've even noticed some of my own badly trained LoRAs, depending on how badly or well I've captioned, it has a direct influence on what layers are impacted. So in a way, it's quite interesting because you can actually judge how well a LoRA may be trained versus its use case. Or equally, for higher epochs, you'll start to see sometimes this graph here flattening out as some of the layers get overfilled and the other ones start to catch up. So it can become potentially a really usable tool for judging where your best epoch is. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff I need your feedback for. These are just ideas I've come up with today whilst building it. But I hope you find it useful. And if you want to support me in doing this, I have a buy me a coffee link. Zero stress. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. It's appreciated if you do, and totally understandable if you don't. Anyway, have a good one.